Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 248th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the Wood Kid, Travis Snell.
I am the Harcaster, Dylan Musk.
I am play-by-play, Tyler Briggs.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to announce the winners of the Golden Geeks. Before that, just a few quick plugs. Your February After 9 episode will be up this week, and we just recorded just a spicy Lord of the Rings Return the King epic style of music. We're doing top 10 art. I just talked about, I'm forgetting, top 10 artists with our favorite album.
Yeah.
So that'll be at the dollar level. That's your exclusive, just Patreon exclusive dollar. Get it there.
It was fun.
It was a good time.
It's long. You might need to listen to it in chunks. Parts section it off, but it's definitely worth a listen.
But only $1. We're trying to get it done, but hopefully soon by next week we'll have the Electro Retro up there. We're going to try to do that next week. And then me, Taylor, and Kirkland in March, we did Green Lantern Retro, which was wild. So that'll be up there. No. Also, we're talking, this is our kind of Oscars. This Sunday we're doing a watch along. Myself, Dylan, Emily from Netflix Fails is going to join us. Connor's going to join us. You guys have never met them, but...
Connor has been on one episode of GeekVerse. He did that life review of the...
Oh, he was! I never
the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Oh, really?
In Connor.
I think I'm gonna watch the movie just so I can hear Connor on the podcast. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So there you go. One time memory, he'll be back. It'll just be fun. We're gonna hang out, just talk about some stuff, have some snacks. But we're gonna talk about our award show today. We have the winners for a fan vote. Thank everyone for voting because lots of people actually voted on them. So we have that. So we have fans' choice, and then we have what we voted for. Let me just get down here. What would you guys want to start with? We're gonna save obviously best film last. That's the big honcho. But what do you guys want to start with category wise?
Let's actually start with the bottom this time. Let's start with worst. What is the worst film?
So worst, I will start with the fans. So worst by I'll start lower. So 3% of the fans voted for Rampage. 13% voted for The Predator, 18% Jurassic World, 25% The Nun, and your winner at 40% Slender Man. And that was also the GeekVerse choice as well. So the fans' choice was there was, but we also use if there's a tie. That will come into play later tie. But I vote for Slender Man. You can go back to the nominations because that's where we talked a lot about why we picked what we did and whatnot. But it was just a clear cut for me. When me and Kirkland saw it, I just couldn't believe it was an actual movie, and I'm surprised it actually won the fan vote because I thought it was so small. I think it just shows that the people that
I thought it was less popular than that for sure.
I think it just shows that the people that have seen it, it's stuck with them as far as like how's this movie. So yeah, worst film of the year is Slender Man.
Nice.
Makes sense.
What was my vote? Do you have it there?
Your vote was, I'm pretty sure it was Rampage, but it was yours was Rampage.
Okay. Yeah.
As I Briggs, you voted for The Nun, or no? Briggs, you voted for The Predator.
Yes. This was the one section where I was kind of slacked on, just like out of not watching the movies, just because for one, it's like I don't want to go out there and watch a bunch of bad movies to figure out which one's the worst.
Right.
And then also, I did vote for Predator because I tried to watch it on a plane. I got like 10, 15 minutes in, I was like, not happening.
This
isn't good.
My dad recently watched that and he told me as well that he didn't like it, and that's pretty rare for him to dislike a movie, but to hear him trash on Predator was kind of fun and the Predator. And my vote for Rampage, I mean, if you go back to the nomination episode, for me it was just the most forgettable movie of probably my entire life, and so because of that reason alone, that movie had just nothing going for it, and I had to vote for it worst film of the year.
Yeah. I now have an order. I'm going to go in the order of how I released them to the fan public.
That's a good idea.
So, best score, Hereditary with a 0%. I would say Hereditary suffers from probably a lot of people have not seen that movie, so I think as far as a big popular film.
Yeah, I don't think the soundtrack pops as much, right?
Yeah,
it's more like something. It's not something you'd listen to outside of the film itself.
But in that movie.
Whereas the other ones, there's a lot that you could just listen to recreationally. So I think that's definitely a big decider for it.
Yeah, I definitely think for people who may watch it casually without trying to analyze things, you wouldn't have noticed the soundtrack as much.
Right.
Halloween was 7%, Black Panther at 13%, Spider-Verse at 20%, and Infinity War is the fans' choice winner for Golden Geek with 40%.
Wow, that's a large margin.
And then our winner was, and this is where the fans took in some consideration because Dylan and myself voted for Black Panther. you and I think you and Kirkland voted for Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Jessica abstained because she says she does not care about scores. She doesn't, so she abstained. And then Taylor voted for Halloween. So I went to the fan vote. Obviously, they picked Infinity War. That didn't help us there. So Taylor had to break the tie, and he picked Spider-Verse as the winner. So and he's credited as the Prowler theme. That was the thing that really put him over.
Right.
And I'm not mad that I went Black Panther just because that score and the album together was so great. But the Spider-Verse also had a great soundtrack. So I'm not mad at any of these winners. It was a good choice. So yeah.
I can't be mad at the score is definitely fantastic. For me, like the difference maker was when I was listening to both of those albums just on their own, like the not the soundtracks, but the songs, the album itself.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Spider-Verse one didn't like. I didn't like some of the songs on it, whereas Black Panther, even though it's not my genre, I was still really into like all the songs on there. So that was my deciding vote. But Briggs, you voted for Spider-Verse.
I was like completely opposite as you. Like for me, after watching Black Panther, I didn't feel like, oh man, I need to go and get the soundtrack or whatnot. After Spider-Verse, like immediately, I got the soundtrack almost immediately after, and I've just been listening to both the score and the album soundtrack just non-stop.
Maybe listen to our Patreon episode and Briggs maybe talks
may or may
about
not have been mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, it is just absolutely phenomenal that just the music in general in that film is just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm very glad that it took it home.
Mm-hmm. Best visuals, 0% Hereditary. Black
a lot of Hereditary hate.
yeah.
I fought hard to get these things involved.
But at least they're nominated, For us, the 5 best, they're up there.
I can't be mad.
Black Panther at 3%, Spider-Verse with 23%, Avengers 34%, and Aquaman with 39%. So this is fans' choice. I'm not surprised by surprise. I think Aquaman just because that movie's just nothing but visuals as far as it's in water constantly, so that could have went into it. And I guess I can go to the one we did. It was Spider-Verse, and I don't think there was any outliers. I think we all did. I will double check.
Yeah.
But for me, Spider-Verse was just the shots, cinematography, everything. Taylor's the one that chose Infinity War. Taylor's usually the outlier. If Spider-Verse didn't exist, I would have went Infinity War just because of the way Thanos looked. But I took visuals and cinematography as the shots and the scenery and whatnot. And that's why Spider-Verse to me was a clear winner for me. So I'm happy we picked that, but fan's choice was Aquaman.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think Spider-Verse for me, it wasn't even a question just because of how unique it was, right? If this was the same thing a couple years ago for Kubo, just because of the way how, that's so stylistically interesting and unique from not even just movies in that year, but just movies ever. At least from my perspective, the movies I've seen. That's why I voted for Spider-Verse. Now, you mentioned that, if Spider-Verse wasn't there, I think that would have been a more interesting decision for me, because for me, it was instantly Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I honestly might have done Hereditary for the really interesting, cinematography stuff in there. But at the same time, I don't blame Taylor for voting Infinity War, because that movie looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if Spider-Verse wasn't a movie this year, then I think it would have been really close, a really tough decision for me. Probably between Hereditary and Infinity War. But it wouldn't have been nearly as easy as Spider-Verse. I mean, just how unique it was, the way they absolutely nailed that comic book aesthetic with everything, and how it just flowed so seamlessly, being an animated film, and just everything just worked just phenomenally, and it was just so much fun. And with an animated film like that, the visuals need to be on point.
Definitely.
And they just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned this at the top of the episode. I just had about 5 fun facts to throw out of our own history of Golden Geeks. We've never had more than 2 most anticipated films in the Best Pictures nominations. So there's always been in our 5 that we picked for most anticipated, no more than 2 have never been in our Best Picture.
Interesting.
So every year, there's only 2 of them are in our Best
Yeah, so we don't have great odds of picking the most anticipated.
Fuck you, Incredibles.
Yeah, It is the only horror film to ever be nominated for Best Geek Film. Same as Zootopia up until Ralph was the only animated one, but Ralph broke that this year. Michael Fassbender is the only actor to get nominated back-to-back between the first one and this one. We've had nobody do that yet.
Wow.
Alien Covenant went from 2016 most anticipated to worst film. That's the only one to do that. Logan has the most wins with any film with 3 wins. Let's see, Adam Driver, up until this year with Josh Brolin, was the only year to get nominated twice a year, but Josh Brolin broke that with 3 a year.
Yeah, legend.
So he got that, and Driver, or what is it, why am I saying? Michael B. Jordan joins that as far as being nominated twice.
Cool.
Marvel, every year up until, that's why I'm reading this before we get in the big awards, has won Best Film, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actor. So they usually
Every year?
Yeah, so far. And then Star Wars and DC have never gotten a Best Film nomination. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's still true to this day. So some of those were, I just want to read those out because there are some outliers broken.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's see. Best supporting actor right now. So this is the fans' pick. Fans vote with 8% was Peter B. Parker. Killmonger was 10%. Cable was 17%. Doctor Strange 25%, and Donald Glover at 43% for Lando. The reason I will say that maybe this, maybe the most anticipated, is a little skewed is because we have had great fan polls and I love them, but they've brought a influx of Star Wars fans to our page. So I'm going to say that has a big influx on that. So it is the fans' choice. I'm nor going to lay to
And we
that.
love you, Star Wars fans. I hope that you're also listening to our podcast and not just checking out our polls.
Yeah, so we hope that's an honest vote, but if not, maybe I would lean a bit more to Cumberbatch, but that was the fans' choice. Now, they did get involved as far as our winner for Golden Geeks, because what happened was, oh god, I can't remember who voted for her, but I and Jessica voted for Killmonger. You and Dylan, sorry, I don't know audio listeners, Dylan and Kirkland voted for Peter B. Parker, and then Taylor voted for, he voted for Donald Glover as well, as Lando. So that's why I went to the fans. I went, oh, well, the fans also voted for... Hang on. That's the story. The fans voted for Glover, so I'm like, that doesn't help us, so it's a three-way tie. He voted for Doctor Strange, so that's why I said, Briggs, you gotta break the tie. So Briggs, you can reveal which way did you vote between Donald Glover, Michael B. Jordan, and Jake Johnson.
Oh, no.
Do you not remember?
I think I remember, but I don't want to get it wrong.
You voted for Killmonger.
Yes, okay, that's what I thought. Jeez, as you were like getting to me, I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to mess this up.
That one, that was by far the hardest vote for me.
Yeah, I
that
agree.
one, like most of them, it was like between two options, or like I just had one that I knew I was voting for. But that one by far, like probably I was on the way like driving here to record the cast, and I still hadn't decided. Like all of them were great and like so like different styles and stuff. I honestly, like, if you asked me that question again today, I might vote for someone different, but I don't know. They're all so good in their own ways.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a tricky vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even just me, I was torn between Peter B. Parker and Killmonger. I ended up going with Killmonger just because I think he had an absolutely phenomenal performance, and I do think he deserved to get something. Michael B. Jordan deserved a win in this in the Golden Geeks.
It means a lot for his career.
And so...
we'll send it to you in the email.
I can't wait. Yeah, for me, I will not spoil the other category, but this one and one other category we'll get to, this to me was a deadlock for me. I knew it was Michael B. Jordan. You can go back to the review. I've loved that, and I was very surprised that Thanos upped it, but I even said in that review, I don't think it's going to be up, but I think it's a fantastic performance. I thought it should have even got nominated for an Oscar, so that to me was a dead vote. I'm like, because Strange was so good. All of them were so good, but for me, I knew that was my pick. So for that one, for me, I
he definitely had like a big role for a supporting role as well.
So for me, that was a big bullet point. So supporting actress. I'm going to start off with our one just because it was a runaway. Everyone, I believe, I'll double check. Maybe Taylor's always an outlier. But
Taylor definitely.
Let's see here. Actually, no, Jessica was the one outlier who voted for Okoye. But the nominees, actually, you know what? I should do fan vote because it actually gives the nominations first. For the people if they didn't tune in the nominations.
Yeah, sure.
Before we go,
I'm confused, but okay.
Because they don't know who's nominated, right? And I'm just listing off the winner, that was my bad. So okay, so the fan vote was Shuri in Black Panther got 8%, Spider-Gwen got 12.5%, Domino got 16%, Okoye from Black Panther got 17.5%, and Scarlet Witch Elizabeth also got 46%.
Holy
wow!
shit.
So that's why.
That's crazy.
Those were your nominations. This was so funny because last ranked for the fans was, other than Jessica who picked Okoye, we all picked Shuri from Black Panther as the GeekVerse pick. I just thought she was great, and I thought. There's so many times we talk about in Marvel TV with Daredevil or movies how side characters just feel like just attached on. She was great. She got to be comedic. There were some emotional moments when she thinks T'Challa's dead, so she was fantastic. I'm very happy she won. She was just a character. Once I saw her, I'm like, I want to see her in every Black Panther. I'm fine if she goes to Avengers. Like, I just loved her, and I hope that continues as we see her more. So even though she's been snapped.
No, yeah, she was smart. She was funny. She was witty. She was badass when she had to do some fighting. Amazing character, and as you mentioned, the chemistry is, I think, the biggest thing, right? Really does feel like a brother-sister connection. She's fantastic.
Best scene. So this was from the fans' perspective. So again, Hereditary, the car scene at 2%. The King Challenge from Black Panther 4%. X-Force deaths 16%. The Snap at 23%, and Thor Arrives at 55% for the fans.
That's fair.
So Infinity War running with both those. Yeah. So the Golden Geeks, the podcaster winners, we went with the Snap. So that was I know I vote for it. You vote for it. I'm pretty sure Kirkland did as well. Briggs, I don't think you did, right?
No, I don't think so. I think I went with the car scene.
You went with the car scene, and Jessica went with X-Force deaths, and Taylor went with the Thor entrance. So for me, I love the Thor entrance. It's so badass, but just I think Dylan sold me in the nominations when just like after that movie, that's what the internet talked about, right?
And now became like
it's a meme. It's every
it's like cultural awakening.
Anytime, like, look at what happened to Netflix, those shows got canceled, it's them disappearing, and that's going to be something I feel that will be in the zeitgeist for a long time. It's almost, I feel like it's the new I Am Your Father from Star Wars. Now when the Snap, like, if it's a joke, something serious, and even now in 5 years, I'll be like, oh, will they ever have a moment like the Snap? So that's why I love that Thor moment, but I had to go for the Snap. Yeah. So
it was, obviously, that was a huge point for me as well. Like, it's very, very rare that I like end up crying at a scene. I have tears for like a scene in a movie. That did it for me when Peter is fading away. Just I
feel so good.
How quiet it is, like the music cuts out, and it's just like, God, it is devastating. It is terrifying. That scene is iconic. I think it'll be one that's remembered for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Why did you go car scene overall? I want to get your quick thoughts.
For that one, I think just...
we know that you like to be unsettled. Shout out to the...
After 9.
I think that for me, I guess part of it was because I feel like I had to fight so hard to get it in there as a nominee.
Right.
And just... for me, that... And just like, more from a... for me, at least... hard to say, like, the Snap 100% is a much more iconic moment, but just from like a cinematography kind of like technical standpoint, I guess, just the way it was filmed, the acting in that scene and everything was just like
scores build
so well done and like so like perfected almost.
It's gut-wrenching.
It's like, it is like everything was just perfect about it. There was just like just from like, for me, I guess from like a technical kind of like just analyzing it standpoint, it stood out the most among like any you can put probably any scene from this year, evidently for my vote there, but like any scene from like a number of years, like for me this would just be like, it just, I'm not gonna remember. I'm not gonna forget this.
I'm not gonna remember it. Yeah.
But and for me, I guess that's why I voted. I looked at it from like a more less emotion based and more just like technical standpoint. For me at least. As far as scene goes, I took a more cinematography sort of level and stuff rather than like the emotional impact of the scene itself. So that's why I voted for that one. But I mean, I don't want to take anything away from like the Snap scene, and
it's a strong picks here.
Like basically, what, 10 years of Marvel has literally been building to
10
this
years,
moment.
22 films.
And then it is probably going to be one of the most iconic like pop culture references as far as comic book and just like video game stuff, and like any pop culture stuff is going to have like, this is a thing that's going to be talked about for so long.
It sounds so comic booky because it happens in Infinity War, but I never thought they would do it to that amount. It's like, oh, it's just such a comic book thing, like he snaps his fingers, people disappear. And this is the fact that that's how they end the movie, and it's also because that's how they end it too. With Thanos, he won. There's no, obviously Endgame's gonna probably fix that, but in this movie it's like he won and there's no ray of shining light. Just that moment when Cap's like, oh God, when like it finally settles in, like, oh, that's what they were all afraid of. It's like everyone disappearing, and it's just Oof.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, villain. Talking about Endgame, let's get this out of the way. For fan choice for villain of the year, Liv Doc Ock, 0% of the vote.
Ooh.
And then Prowler, 1% of the vote for Spider-Verse villain.
that's
not
rough.
getting a good
That's
love in here.
rough.
You know, they are, I mean, that movie spread its love between its villains,
Yeah.
so I can
I get it.
understand.
5% at Killmonger. And then for a while, Thanos and Michael Myers were going back and forth. And then Thanos just ran away with it. But when the voting started, Michael Myers had the lead at one point. And I was like,
Wow.
what's happening here? But then a big lead because Michael Myers only took 12%. Thanos taking a whopping 80%
Oh my
of the fan vote.
goodness.
He didn't even snap. He snapped and then a little snap because he took more than half the percentage.
Yeah,
So.
80%.
And that was...
King.
I'm not going to call Taylor right now because it's late. Everyone picked Thanos except for Taylor, and I believe he picked the Prowler, which I... So, yeah, he picked the Prowler and Kirkland picked Killmonger. Everyone else picked Thanos. I never got to ask Taylor why. I think it's just a little Taylorism. I think it's just the score and everything like that.
Yeah.
But, so he picked Prowler. But I thought this was Thanos' word. Even though I love Killmonger, that performance... Thanos to me is that new Darth Vader. He's this generation's Voldemort. Like, he is that villain that people are going to be talking about till the next big villain comes up. You know, like, we have that every 5 years, that movie guy that is the poster, and I think that's him. A great performance by Brolin, and, I thought this was the most obvious one that was going to happen, so.
Yeah, it's a villain that, like, has you thinking after the movie has ended, right? You can try to think about his point of view, his perspective, and how it differs and how it got to the point it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then also just amazing, like, badass fight scenes, as Briggs mentioned, like just the build-up of all the years leading to this moment with the Infinity Stones just kind of inkling around in this universe before he brings them all together. Yeah, Thanos was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see Endgame just for his story, right?
And the hype of him, because I feel like with that much build-up, he could easily disappoint us all, right? And especially in a time where Marvel...
with the villain problem.
Yeah. So it's like now we've kind of gone past that.
The fact that they delivered on this thing that they've been hyping up for so long is just a huge feat in and of itself. And then Thanos, I think like there's just so many aspects to him, and he's so fleshed out compared to like so many villains that it's just like phenomenal. And also the fact that he was pretty much the protagonist of the film is just like you can't beat that.
No,
like it's crazy. So.
Most anticipated, got 4 awards left here, well 5 after we got the GV meme as well. Anticipated, so It Chapter 2 with 2.5%. This one really surprised me. Spider-Man with 2.5% as well. Joker with 6%, Endgame 31%, and Star Wars Episode 9 with 58%. I will also attribute that to, again, we had a big influx of Star Wars fans, so I feel like that's going to help. But even then, there's a lot of people that dislike Last Jedi, so, and I could see that. I still think Endgame is the biggest one. That's what we all voted for, except for Jessica. She voted for It Chapter 2, and actually I'm lying. Kirkland and Taylor did vote for Episode 9, so us 3 are going to vote
That's
Endgame.
a big lie.
The numbers are way off there.
Yeah, I totally lied. We're doing. I'm in a little fast mode here, but for me, it's just an easy thing. I think if Infinity War wasn't as good, I could see the claim, but for me, I love Star Wars, and I can't wait to see Episode 9, but for me, it's Endgame, just because it's the ending of a whole saga of movies, where Episode 9 is the ending of these characters, but I do feel like we're going to get 11 and 10 and 12, and I feel like people can say, oh, you'll see more of Marvel characters, but it just feels this is a closing chapter. Maybe if it disappoints, then we'll talk about that after, but just the hype for it, the trailers, the way the marketing's being, where it's showing stuff, but very little, Cap looking like he's just having some PTSD going on. I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like, Episode 8 didn't finish with a snap.
No.
How do you, not...
It's hard to one up that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it should be stated for me, I'm very, very excited for Star Wars Episode 9. I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan. That's how much, there has been building towards it. But it just goes to show, how much higher Endgame is. That is going to be phenomenal.
But there you go. That was a fan's choice. You just picked Star Wars, so there you go. So here's the big, heavy honcho hitter. The big hitters, heavy honcho categories. Best Actress. Here we go, the fan's choice. Toni Collette from Hereditary, 8.5%.
Oh, there we go, Hereditary.
Yeah.
That's what I like to see.
Sarah Silverman as Vanellope, 17%. Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee, 17%. Emily Blunt with 27.5%, and Evangeline Lilly with 29%. So this was a very close category all around. And then our choice was Toni Collette. This was the one I was talking about from Hereditary. It was Killmonger, and for me it was her. Of like, I knew for sure, and I guess you could say Thanos, but those were my bullets. I know I'm voting for those two no matter what. She's fantastic in it. She just gave such a great performance, and she is, like, Alex Wolff is in that a lot, but she is our main character. She takes us throughout, and there's so many emotions she has to portray, so I thought she was fantastic. I think it's the same thing. It's a shame she didn't get more awards in, like, the film route and, like, Oscars and whatnot, but before you guys go, everyone, I'm trying to find out...
I'm pretty sure I voted for her.
We all voted for her except for Taylor and Jessica, who voted for Evangeline Lilly. So it was a 4-2 for Toni Collette. But
I'm kind of surprised by Jessica's vote, actually.
Yeah,
because like I
don't. She didn't love Hereditary, and I've heard that.
But I don't think I've ever heard her talk about Ant-Man. I don't even know if she had seen it, honestly. So that's where it's kind of surprising to me. I don't think it's a bad pick by any means. Obviously, everyone deserves to be on there. It's just. That's the one that, like, Taylor's, I understand why Taylor would pick that.
No. I don't understand because the votes were taken at, February 21st, so if they've changed now, they were non-void. But at one point, Emily Blunt was winning the fan vote, and he went, oh, good for her, I'm really glad she's winning that. I'm like, you didn't vote for Golden Geeks. He's like, I know, I just wanted her to win something. So I could never gauge Taylor, so that's why when he did vote for Lily, I was shocked.
That's the thing, like, of all the Taylorisms, like, I understand why he voted for her there.
Yeah.
It's a worthy pick. Toni Collette, just, like, what a performance that was. She was terrifying. She had all those emotional scenes on log. There's, like, her and Alex Wolff, like, the amount of different types of things they had to do in that movie is it's a pretty big list, and they nailed all of it. Like, they carry that movie so hard.
It's just so convincing, their performances. It's absolutely
puts you
insane.
in a terrifying position.
Yeah.
Best actor, here we go from the fans' point of view here. So who the fuck is Alex Wolff. I forgot because I just put Alex Wolff. 5%, but got some votes in there, so good for him.
My vote.
The Hereditary one has been last on the fan vote.
I think it's because it's not as seen as much, and I think it's a film that I know because me and Kirkland, when we first talked about, we wanted to see it because it had like a lot of negative reviews at first. It's just not from critics, but from fans. I think it's a very divisive movie. Well, some people, I don't think they like how. I don't know. Like, I don't like how long it is, but I feel like some other people just say it's too slow and it's just takes its pace. And the other knock I've heard against, which I totally disagree, but some people feel it's like a little goofy, like the acting and whatnot. I don't. But that's some of the complaints I've heard thrown against it. So I think it's a combination of that where it's the same thing as Cinema Score. If no one knows about that, that's the thing where they pull people when they get out of the theaters. And that got a D. That's the second lowest grade you can get. Like, that's close to what Mother got, and that's why you can... So I think it's that type of film where you either very much love it, or same thing with Emily, when we watched, she just hated that movie. She was like, I was bored, I didn't enjoy myself, like, I never want to... She's like, if you ever watch it, don't watch it with me. So, and I've heard that from other people that I know as well, too. So I think that has a lot to do with it. So Alex Wolff, 5%, but he got some votes, Chadwick Boseman, 7%. Shamik Moore as Miles Morales with 10%. Thor with 27%, and Thanos with 49%. Almost snapped his way again to a Best Actor. But for our vote, he did not win Best Actor because Chris Hemsworth took that award. I think that's a very controversial one because you got Alex Wolff there doing some great acting. You got Thanos in there, but Hemsworth, and I will say that I vote for Hemsworth. This was a tough one for me. The reason I went with it was two things. Three things. Maybe I'll admit there's some bias from... what is it? El Royale. I download the Hemsworth.
I understand that completely.
I've downloaded the Hemsworth workout app as well, so he's just in my life all the time now. But it was 2-1. I just felt like for the first time, I felt like Hemsworth actually he could lead the franchise of the Avengers. I had never felt that at all in Marvel, even after Ragnarok. But I felt you could lose Evans and Downey, and if we still have Hemsworth, it doesn't matter because he just became such a leader in that movie. And for me, other than the snap, the scene I remember the most this year is that scene of him and Rocket and just him talking. Just because me and Dylan talked about this Bradley Cooper when he directed Stars, but I didn't know he had that in him. Same thing as Hemsworth. I didn't know he had that scene in him, just like to be laughing and crying and be breaking down. Like, he's playing off, maybe not to the extent Alex Wolff and Toni Collette, but in that moment, he's just doing so many different things. And I didn't know he could do this. I just thought he was the jockey, kind of funny guy, right, who could play a tough guy. And I think in Infinity War, he just showed such different aspects. That's why, for me, it's almost like he just shocked me to a win, and I had to give it to him. But I wouldn't have been disappointed with anybody winning in this. Honestly, I think they all did great.
I think I voted Alex Wolff.
You did, Alex Wolff. You voted for Thanos, I believe. I'll pull him up.
I can't be mad with the Thor or the Thanos pick. I think you just brought up all the points on Thor. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but that is an excellent point. And I'm really curious to see like what they do next if they do another Thor movie. That'll be really interesting. Yeah. But
Kirkland also voted Alex Wolff with you, and then so it was myself, Taylor, and Jessica for Thor, and then you went Brolin.
Yeah, to me it was the same point as I had for Tony Collette, where I feel like there was just such an amount of like emotional toll that those characters were put upon, and the acting like perfectly reflected that. There's like the scene when it's the classroom scene. I forget what exactly the scenario.
Yeah, I put in the montage. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that scene is like chilling.
He's like getting hung and
Obviously, the scene when like the beheading scene, like just his reactions to that are amazing, and then all the stuff between him and his mom are. God, he was so good in that movie.
Mm-hmm. And I thought you'd go Brolin because I remember after Infinity War, you're big Thanos. You compared him to Anton Chigurh for No Country for Old Men. So big one here. So this is the best film, the big head honcho. Fan vote 1%. Ralph breaks the internet, so not a lot of love for Ralph there. Hereditary with 4%.
Oh, my man.
Yeah, Black Panther with 5%. Spider-Verse with 32%, but Infinity War takes it with 55%.
You know what? Hereditary only 1% below Black Panther. We take those.
That's a win right there.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then for our choice was Spider-Verse. No, it was Infinity War for the fan choice, and then for us it was Spider-Verse.
Really?
So yeah, it was Spider-Verse.
I think my vote was Infinity War.
You and Taylor voted Infinity War, and then the other four of us picked Spider-Verse. For me, I was fighting between Black Panther and Infinity War the whole time. And then me and Dylan saw the release screen of Spider-Verse, and I really enjoyed myself. I thought it was definitely top 5 for me. But I didn't think it was better than those two until I saw it a second time, and I saw it with Emily.
I never saw it a second time.
I saw it a second time, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it was like Infinity War. I knew certain stuff was coming, but I was just as emotional and just like everything. That second time for me, I remember I walked out, I was like, I don't know how, but I enjoyed it when we saw it, but I just remember enjoying it even more. And I was like, how did that happen? I couldn't believe that, and that's why I was like, that's why I got my vote, because for me it was always Infinity War or Black Panther. I went back and forth every day because I could tell you one reason or another why I like one. But when Spider-Verse, it kind of saved me because it came up and I gave it that vote, and I love it. Just has so many emotional stuff, so many great scenes, and it does hurt me sometimes when I look at best scene and I go, what would I have bumped? Because we didn't put one in there, and it's just tough. But to me, this was like it winning visuals kind of was like a replacement for that for me. But for best film, that was my tiebreaker of like, you know what, I loved Spider-Verse, and it's to me my favorite Spider-Man movie, so that was my vote for best film for night film.
I can't be mad with that selection. I've only seen it once, so now I'm really curious to see like how my thoughts would change. Because obviously it was really hyped, just drive all the way to Vancouver to go see it. But I even had a more, bigger experience with Infinity War, seeing it in India with like this super weird theater experience there. But I remember like right after the movie was done, I just like rushed back to the hostel on like the shitty internet, just like watch your guys' review, because I was just, obviously we've been waiting for that movie for so long. So I think it's the fact that like it had been built up for so long and that it like delivered. And like every time I've rewatched it, I've found like other little things about it that I really like. So that was definitely my vote. But Spider-Verse definitely deserves it.
Yeah, Spider-Verse for me this is probably the easiest vote.
Really? Wow.
For me, I mean, when I went to the theater for this, for some reason I didn't watch it until like a month after it came out, which was absolutely horrendous decision making by me. Like sometimes I'm on the cast, I'm just like shaking and stuff. Like this movie was me just like take that, just like turn up to 12. I was just like popping off. I'm just like in my seat, just like fist pumping, just like oh man, and like with Colby, she had to like hold me down at some moments. So I'm just like yes, this is amazing. And this movie had me just like right from the start. I was just completely engrossed with it. I could not I was so fixed on it. And so like movies, I'm not usually too too out there like in movies, I guess, but like how do I say it? It's shoot, I don't even know where I'm going with this right now. But
I think that proves your point perfectly. Yeah, you're like lost for words and you're just like excited, right? You just have like that childhood excitement.
Yeah, exactly. It was like one of those things where it's just every little thing, every little tiny joke you get is just like I was like laughing my ass off out of it. I was just fist bumping at every moment. I was crying my eyes out at every emotional moment, and just like when they like introduced all like the three other
Noir and Penny
Parker,
Spider-Gwen,
Spider-Pig, and it was all just like I was just like so excited to meet every single one of them. I was just like laughing at like the humor of Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker being like an anime kind of character. I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And it's just everything in that movie was just so beautifully done for me, and just the visuals. I'm a sucker for phenomenal visuals and cinematography, and the way they just nailed the comic book visuals, the way they had it kind of cel shaded, kind of like they have like the little like you can hardly see it, and like when it's like in full, when everything's like moving, you don't really notice it, but they have like the little black dots. Sort of faded, and they have like at some points
above their heads.
Yeah, the reactions, and oh my goodness, everything about the film is just like, for me, like that was the like. I would compare my movies, my cinema experience of that film to that of Logan, but on completely different side scales. Yeah. Logan on like a very dark emotional level, and this on like a very like upbeat and like just like happy level, despite also having a very emotional level to it as well. But like those are like my two, like I would put those two as like my like comic book easily. Both of those are probably my top 5, and it's just like. I could talk about it forever, so I'm gonna stop. But like for me, that's great. I love that one.
Yeah, that's why I had those fun facts. 'Cause right now, Spider-Verse tied with Logan for most wins. So is anyone gonna get that 4? Maybe Endgame next year. You know, you got Thanos back, you got Cap, and then finally, this was a fan vote one, just because for best GV meme, it was hard to. I couldn't find a way to like encapsulate that into a picture or anything like that. Those for the longtime fans, and kind of an award we're giving ourselves, not in a way of like we get our award, just to like what we celebrated. So the best meme, we had Predator Walk, we had the wig from Tomb Raider, we had Nick Cage mom and dad talking about anal beads and all this type of stuff. Delete the tweets, of course, James Gunn, all that stuff, and then I Can't Go That Way, which honestly, that one is probably the deepest cut one, but that's the one that won. Just because I think it happened on just if 24-hour stream, if you watched, then you found that way. But it just happened one time when we played Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and Doctor Strange says, I can't go that way, and Dylan just said it, and we all just laughed our ass off, and ever since then, it's just been, anytime Doctor Strange comes up, it's like, that's what we say. So yeah, that's a one, and that to me these are all fun moments, but I Can't Go That Way is one. And just because you can use it for so many different things, so.
To me, it was...
And we're going to use it when we play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
I think I voted for the wig, right?
You did vote for the wig.
I mean, I felt like I couldn't really vote for that. I Can't Go That Way, because that's kind of my thing. But I still have a vivid memory of the theater experience when we're watching fucking Tomb Raider, and then I just like lean over to Travis and like, man, did you see that wig? And then we just both died, and Travis was gone for like 10 minutes straight, and the other people, all the other casters in the like theater didn't know what we were laughing about, and they were just like,
Kirkland and Taylor were legitimately like mad at me for a little bit, because I was like, he's saying 10 minutes, it was more like half an hour.
Because every time he popped up on screen again,
I remember
reprise it.
Yeah, I remember then when one of you guys let me in on the joke, I was just like, the movie's, it's a different experience. It's a completely different experience from then on.
I still haven't rewatched it, but I want to. But yeah, check out that review. It was us 3 and Taylor. It was just
like little faces. Everything you did just became.
I've given one life to save a billion, and it's just like he's overacting. And I was fine up until Dylan pointed out. I didn't notice at all. I'm just watching the movie. He's like, I think that's a wig, and then just like I can never see it, right? And he's just acting crazy. And like, check out our review. I need to watch that movie again at some point. But yeah, that's the Golden Geek winners. I'm happy with a lot of the winners. Not every vote goes your way, but I think it was a great year for geek film, and I'm excited what happens next year. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what gets in there. And I won't lie, especially with Spider-Verse winning. Now the Endgame, it's like I feel a little more inclined to vote for it. It's like, I screwed you over in Infinity War. So, hopefully Endgame just be good, But we got a good year.
There could be a big clash between Endgame and Episode 9. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I think we'll feel that, and then we'll see it, and then we won't.
Yeah. Let's just hope it doesn't have the Alien Covenant effect where one of them is in the worst film category.
JJ, JJ got us. But, go back. If you want to hear us actually why we picked these nominations, we did a whole cast.
Another long cast.
Another 3-hour cast. But that's when we really talked about moments, why we liked or didn't like it, whatnot. It's my favorite cast of the year. Now I'm bummed out because I look forward to when we do it next year, because I just love the debate.
It sucks to know that it's like the furthest away cast from us.
100%. But I think what I want to play with to make it a little bit sooner, not that one, but I think because next year we're going to be in 2020, I think we should do a Golden Geek decade. And like from 2010 to 2020 for like New Year's, we should try and make a list of like five best geek films, 5 best performances.
That's gonna be a slaughterfest.
Oh yeah, like like that's so much is in play. Like Inception.
We'll have to split it into parts for sure.
Oh yeah, like Inception is in play. Like there's so Dark Knight Rises for Dylan Mutz. Like there's so much in play. But thank you very much for tuning into this. Next week we'll be back with something news or whatnot, and then
I totally forgot to mention at the start, but I recorded my review for Wargroove, which is an indie strategy game that came out at the start of February. But I recorded my review. That's up on the channel, so please go check that out.
Go to SoundCloud, Spotify, listen to all those things. If you like what they do, they do. But Dylan does, but like what we do, please subscribe. Let us know. Head over to Facebook. I can't announce the next poll yet, but you probably will like it if you like Batman. Or Wonder Woman.
Have we given a shout out to the winner of our most recent poll?
Shit, I did, and Taylor told me specifically, make sure you say something.
Taylor, you should have been here, man.
Yeah.
We'll be at next month. I'll say it next week as well. But Obi-Wan Kenobi won the Star Wars poll. I'm quite happy because
him against Vader in the final.
Yeah,
I thought
that was the easiest vote in the world for me.
I'm very glad that was the finals. Like, there's a lot of potential for it to just be like some really
fucking
weird
Bosk was up there, man. He was making it around.
Yo, Bosk is pretty hype.
I have
Bosk,
no idea
I could
who that
potentially
is.
vote for.
I have no idea.
I know Boston Star Wars. I don't know if he's that hype, but yeah. Next poll's gonna be lots of fun. We got polls for the next little. We got formal polls.
That's our new thing.
So yeah. People like that. So thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with some news or something, and then Captain Marvel the week after. Oh boy, it's started, and then Endgame soon. So thank you very much for tuning in. It won't be boring.
I can't go that week.
Well, later, nerds.
Maybe that should be my new outro.
It should.
It kind of worked.